Hi beautiful souls, welcome back to the channel, Beautiful Awakening with Shantia. Welcome to another Alchemy Volume 1 episode lesson with me, where we are going to be talking about such a fun topic, which is, which soul category are you? I wonder. So I thought this would be a fun topic because my guides, they suggested I check out Dolores Cannon. If you have not heard of Dolores Cannon, I am happy to be introducing you to Dolores Cannon. I would absolutely highly recommend her work. Watch her videos, read her books. I think she's written over 14 books that is out there and available to educate you, to help you to learn about who you are. She is a powerful old soul who helped to educate us and understand more about ourselves. And I absolutely love her directness and her passion and love. She had almost like a childlike wonder and curiosity that I absolutely relate to, and I know many of you do too. But yet she had this kind of confidence and this spunk about her where she was just so authentic and herself. So with that, me looking into Dolores Cannon, I was inspired to create this video where I talk about the different soul categories. Now, before we get into this topic, I just want you guys to know, please do not get caught up or held bent on any specific soul group. I just think this is fun. I went to town. I channeled pretty much all of this information. I got some of it mildly from like Dolores Cannon and some of the research I've done, but I kind of just channeled and I just picked up energies, and I felt called to explain these different categories just for fun. Now, just know that one of the things my guides tell me is that it doesn't really matter what soul group you're a part of. You're part of the divine matrix. You're connected to everything. And when you awaken, you go through your awakening process and you connect to source, you're more and more connected to everything. And you get more access to all of the energy. So it doesn't really matter if you're old soul, new soul, doesn't matter. Today, I'm going to be discussing 3 main categories, and I got also a subcategory for you as well. We're going to be talking about new souls, old souls, and advanced souls. Which one are you? We shall dive in. Let's go ahead and just start off with this brief summary of understanding of this topic. Now, all souls are eternal. So it doesn't matter, really, are you new soul, old soul? All souls are eternal, but some are new to earth. Advanced souls are the exception, as they are divine incarnations. So these are the avatars, right? The Jesus and the Buddhas, the Yeshuas and the Buddhas who incarnated here on earth. They are advanced souls. So they don't really fall into the new or old soul category, but they actually embody both of those categories. So Dolores Cannon, she discussed the 3 waves of helpers that were being brought to earth, and these 3 waves made up the new souls. So she talked about the different generations and how they embodied certain qualities. And I was like, I looked into it, and immediately I felt like I could absolutely relate. I felt like my life made sense. So it was funny because sometimes, you're just sitting around wondering, who am I? What am I here for? And I just heard a whisper in my ear, and it was like, it was an imaginative divine whisper, okay? I didn't literally hear a whisper, but I heard the words Dolores Cannon in my head. And so I looked her up, and that was the first video. The 3-wave videos was the first one I clicked, and I watched it, and I was pulled in, and I listened to the entire video, and then I watched a couple more that were like a few hours long as well, and I was hooked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm absolutely hooked. I so relate to her passion and her affinity for history and understanding who she is, and this infinite childlike wonder and curiosity. I connected to her right away. And funny enough, I've heard about Dolores Cannon many years ago. She's popped up on my feed a few times. I think I might have clicked a video here and there, but I never really invested into learning who she was, what her background was, and what kind of work she was here to do. I was like, oh, she's one of the teachers here to help us out. But as I looked into it, I was like, dang, boy, was she ahead of her time. So Dolores Cannon passed away in 2014. So she's no longer in her body form, but she's here with us in spirit. And before she passed away, she had written 14 books. It took her 10 years to publish her first book. She kept getting rejected because her concepts were advanced. They were futuristic, and people were like, what are you talking about? Incarnations. She is a hypnotherapist and a healer. So in her hypnotherapy sessions, she would listen to people channel and connect to their past lives or their galactic lives and learn about who we were. She would ask them questions while they're in this hypnotic state, the sleep state, half awake, half asleep state. And she would ask them all kinds of things about Earth, about life, our purpose, why we're here, who we are. That's how she learned. She also did, I think, some past life regressions on herself where she learned who she was. Now, the one thing I will correct Dolores Cannon on is that she always said she wasn't a channeler. The thing is, writing is a form of channeling, and I think this is important for people to understand. Is like, yeah, maybe you won't literally channel the divine, right? She was like, well, I would get information from people who would channel, and I think that's great because she served as sort of a middleman or the messenger, the in-between messenger, and I think she was very satisfied with that role because she felt like she was getting more accurate information as opposed to trying to just, come up or channel ideas. Like, I channel ideas and concepts. What I try to do is I try to channel and then I research and I connect the dots. And usually I'm like, dang, I was right on point. See? That's how I know I'm not crazy. Right? It's like, that's how I started to learn and see, oh, this is not like made up stuff. I'm actually channeling. So we all can channel, technically, but what she was great at doing was she was very good at connecting with other people and getting that information. The thing is, I think we're evolving, humanity, we're all evolving to be able to channel and tune into our psychic abilities. Please check out her 3 Waves video, or just check out any of her videos. I think they're just all phenomenal. I was watching a video where she was talking about Christ, because I am looking to do a Christ consciousness video. I went ahead and channeled, I took my notes. I did a channeled message meditation last year where I channeled the teachings of Christ, and I wanted to share that. I wanted to put that in video form. I feel like now is the time, and so I'm going to connect that to her notes as well and some of the other research that I've been looking into. Dolores Cannon also refers a lot to the New Earth, so she's a really good person if you want to look into the New Earth. Her insights are phenomenal and really accurate and right on point. Okay, so there are 3 categories we're discussing. We're discussing new, old, and advanced souls, but I'd like to also add in a subcategory, which is the middle souls. So the middle soul humans have a vast library of incarnations. So technically they are the old souls, but have yet to develop and awaken the awareness of the soul in their body. They easily get persuaded, tempted to partake in dark force agendas, and have to work to build up their willpower in each lifetime to support the love agenda. Check out my 144 mission video. Once the momentum starts on the dark force agenda, sometimes it takes many lifetimes before the middle soul, old soul humans are able to reverse their karmic momentum. It can be a very painful process, and they may often spend many incarnations in deep grief before they're able to awaken and experience their rebirth. The middle soul, old soul humans are more concerned with creating a family, making money, abiding by materialistic standards, finding a life partner, or building their dream life or home. So that's a lot of people. That's why I'm saying they're old souls technically. It's just the awakening process is very special. We're at a time right now where things are heightened. That's why there's never been anything like this, because so many people are awakening right now. But it's still going to take many years. The momentum will pick up. It will still take many years before a majority of the people here on Earth are awake. So more people are in that middle soul area of life where they're still focused on the material standards. Now, if middle souls can build up a simple spiritual regimen by going to church, meditating, reading about spirituality, that would be a huge win for the love agenda. So if they dedicate any time of energy, even if we're like, oh, religion is so rigid, even if they go to church, that's actually a step up, a step closer to them being connected to God and Source. So that's still a win. So I actually connect old souls to some of the historical saints, yogis, sages, spiritual teachers, I think were old souls because it seemed like they contributed many subsequent past life incarnations of devotion to God. And I also feel like religion, to me, because it's quite rigid, I feel like a lot of old souls connected to religion, but not necessarily the advanced souls. So yeah, historical saints, yogis, sages, spiritual teachers. Our commitment to God is something that we practice, we intensify, we strengthen in each incarnation. And that's how you know when old souls are given that recognition as saints, you know that these people have been putting many lifetimes of devotion because their energy is so recognized here on earth. So we'll dive further into that. New souls immediately know to choose the love agenda. Their rebirth won't be as drawn out, but it will be briefly painful. These are the writers, the artists, the visionaries, and innovators. Those with denser energies are mainly clearing away karma unconsciously. So I talked about this in my Unlock Karma video. People with dense energy, very dense energy, are mainly putting their time into clearing away karma unconsciously. So that's a lot of the middle soul, old soul humans. They're clearing their karma, but they're doing it unconsciously. Though the divine has sent many advanced souls, such as Buddha and Christ, to help, many human souls have continued to get stuck in the wheel of karma. Their energies have become way too dense for the Earth atmosphere, and they generally have gone down a path that supports annihilation and destruction of their entire race. To offset this imbalance, spurts of new souls started to be introduced to help with the survival of humans on this planet. Since the beginning of time, advanced souls come here to help out, as do the new souls. In history, what we have, the reason why we have the Jesus, the Buddhas, and the saints is these are advanced souls. So typically you would have a bunch of middle soul humans who are still learning how to awaken. They're still learning how to even notice that they have a soul. And so a lot of advanced souls who seem like they have revolutionary ideas and such a beautiful, strong, powerful light were sent to Earth so that they could help these humans to awaken, so that they didn't destroy themselves or humanity, and it helped to put things into balance. But later on, now in our modern time, our current time, is many new souls are being sent to help out, to offset that imbalance, because it's helping to prevent the annihilation. And my heart, this is what I truly believe, is we're kind of co-creating this experience. So when we're sending out a prayer into the universe saying, God, like, you know, more of us want to feel love, more of us want to awake, more of us want to just find truth and be happy. When we call out to the universe and divine and we send out that prayer, they hear us and they're able to send more help. But I also think in general, when it comes to the cosmos and the universe, the divine is in charge. So if they're needing to help us to stop ourselves from destroying ourselves, they will. And I think overall we're heading in the right direction because more people want to be happy, truly want to be happy. They want love more than anything. And sometimes we go about it the wrong way, but they're doing everything that they can to help us out. All right, so the first category we're going to dive into, the bigger category, is the new souls. So the new souls generally feel burdened at being here. They're clueless at being human, clueless at making money, or as to why humans choose to stay on the hamster wheel. So it was so funny. I wrote that because I was like, yeah, that feels so true. Like, they're just like clueless. Like, how do you make money? Like, what do I do as a human? And then I looked it up, and Rudolf Steiner actually referred to how new souls feel pretty clueless about how to be human. So financially, new souls tend to be taken care of without much effort on their part because new souls are sent here on mission. New souls often don't care for socializing. They are very satisfied with minimum human interaction. Sometimes they prefer to be invisible, though. New souls sometimes don't feel a strong connection to family, but they do feel a responsibility to soul contracts, ancestral, societal, current action, karmas. They feel the responsibility, but they don't always feel that strong connection of being attached to family. They're not really attached to earthly experiences. They tend to be very peaceful and not want to create karma, since 1, they have no past life karma, and 2, they're imprinted with the unconscious knowing to not create karma. So Dolores Cannon actually discussed this and brought this up, but I was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. They just want to chill. They want to be peaceful. And the reason being is because they don't even have any past life karma, but they have soul contracts. That's the thing. So when they're incarnated into their bodies, they have that karma. They have the societal karma. They have the current action life karma. So they have a lot of other different karmas, but unconsciously they're imprinted to not create karma. So they tend to be pulled into experiences where they're not wanting to create karma. They don't like dense or heavy energy. Emotions often feel very burdensome to them. They don't like drama. They don't get what the human hoopla is about, why people are always complaining and just doing that, and they don't know why humans are doing what they're doing sometimes. They struggle with grounding and can sometimes feel insecure about their place in society or relating to others. Yeah. I mean, just imagine if you're a new soul put in a human form, you're just, and you see all this drama building up around you, you often are more avoidant towards those experiences because the emotions feel very heavy, because emotions are very dense. Their energy is very dense. New souls tend to be very refreshing to be around. They actually lighten up the energy because they're here to alleviate karma on Earth and in their ancestral line. They can live a relatively mundane life and blend in thanks to their energy, empathic abilities, but they will always seek more knowledge. So they're energy empaths, which means they tend to be very claircognizant. This claircognizance helps them to blend in and get along with anyone because they have a sort of a sense for who people are, what they're thinking, and how they're feeling. So they're wonderful with working on energy. They're great mental healers as well as cosmic guardians because they're here to restore balance to the universe. They're attuned to galactic, and angelic energies. They don't relate to labels. This group of souls are essentially here to be ascensioned assistants. Their main task is to help others to ascend and to get out of the wheel of karma. They are divinely timed to wake up collectively and will have a time when they are activated to get to work. So the get to work is not about like working and labor work. It's about awakening. It's about alchemy and transmutation. So earlier I was referring to how financially they tend to be taken care of because they're on mission. So old souls and middle soul, old soul humans tend to be more concerned about materialistic matters. They're more attached to that. Those are things they tend to worry about or be involved in, and sometimes are very good at. They're very successful at that. But new souls are clueless. So the universe gives them a hand and tries to help them make sure they're taken care of. Because they're here on mission. They're here to just get into the nitty-gritty, do their alchemy, their transmutation, their energy work, be a light to people. They tend to be very creative. They're effortless channelers of art, writing, books, doing anything, honestly. They channel and tune into imprinted memories. See here, this is the key. Imprinted memories and the divine matrix to access knowledge. They can try something new and be good at it. They can learn how to play a guitar in a month or become really good at something effortlessly. They don't have as many personal blockages when it comes to being able to create what they want. So thanks to imprints, Dolores talks about this. They have full access to unlimited past lives, but they are imprinted with specific lives to guide them in this lifetime. So according to Dolores' research, some people actually reject their imprints, which is why they come here very confused about who they are. Now, why someone would want to reject their imprint and can reject their imprint is a very interesting idea or concept. But it kind of makes sense. When I hear people talking about how they struggle and they feel connected to these, really galactic, beautiful, high divine energies, yet just have such a hard time with their grounding process, it would make sense that probably some of them skip the imprinting. New souls tend to know a lot about a lot without experience. They have a very lit crown chakra. That's how they know how to do so many things. That's how they know so many things. And they don't even know. They're like, I don't even know why I know these things. I don't even know what this information is here to show me. I just know that I know. And I want to share it. It's very interesting. They tend to be quite rebellious They don't really care about what people think about their choices. They love learning. They enjoy both old and new ideas. They enjoy the ancient wisdom, and they also enjoy new ideas, innovation. Sometimes they tend to love water or space because it represents ether. They love to be spacey. They can be very, very detached, and they are occasional escapists, which is why they either like to read books, sometimes they get lost in movies or art, but because they're pulled to do the alchemy work, they're not going to be caught up in trying to create things all the time. Eventually they're going to be like, okay, let's do the work. Let's alchemize and share the wisdom and the light of the universe with others. They will be connected to doing that. The escapists, though, would be probably for the first portion of their life, they're wanting to sort of not be involved because they just don't get it. They're like, why am I here? So they like to sometimes and prefer to be alone or work alone. They make up great researchers, detectives, writers. They have a strong need to inform. They have a strong connection to their mission, their destiny, because they're here. Their purpose is mission, to be on mission. They like change and transformation. They're very moldable. They love learning, exploring, experiencing, having new experiences. They're inventive. These are the inventive ones, the innovators, the visionaries, the idea machines. They're genius, and they have very advanced intellects because of that crown chakra that connects them to the ether, the everything. And the way that they lead is by example. So some of you may be thinking after hearing this list, oh, that kind of sounds like old soul, new soul. I wouldn't, again, get too rigid or too fixated on these ideas because the old souls actually share some of the same qualities, but from almost a different perspective. So let's go ahead and share that part. So old souls are much more relatable and magnetic empaths. So did you hear that? They're much more relatable. New souls are like, I don't want to be around people. I don't get what people are doing. Like, they don't get it. But old souls, they've experienced so many incarnations here. So they understand how people work. They understand how communities work. So they tend to be more on the magnetic side. And they tend to feel emotions more heavily. And they tend to be quite comfortable with it as well. So old souls are natural extroverts who think they are introverts. So you ever look at that person who's like, I'm an introvert, but they're so good at connecting with other people, and you're just looking at them like, huh? You're an introvert? Are you sure? So introvert, so I would refer to this as human contact and interaction. Now, a lot of new souls are behind their computers, or they're behind their creations, their books, their writing, making things. That's different. That's a very introverted experience. But when you're connecting with humans, like you're having that human interaction and you're good at it, or you like it, or you feel a strong connection to people, usually that's because you're an old soul. You've developed that ability. So they're very good with people and community. They make excellent counselors. They're very good at kind of understanding what people's needs are when it comes to empathy. They're super grounding to be around. They tend to be quite level-headed and relaxed. They're history lovers. They tend to love history. They have a strong connection to specific places, countries, regions, races, ethnicities, cultures, or groups of people. They feel a strong need to help restore or maintain the planet because they're intuitive healers of the earth. They are evolved earth guardians. Sometimes they're often historical leaders of movements. So think about any kind of historical leader who has started a revolutionary, who's been the face of a revolutionary, who's been the face of a movement. These are usually the old souls because they connect to society. What does society need? New souls don't have that. They're like, well, you're just supposed to do the right thing and like connect with God. But old souls are like, they're more empathic in terms of understanding society's slow progress and shifts. They're much more compassionate about those slow changes, where new souls are just ready to like, let's do it now, let's go. They can carry and exist in dense energy. They're really good with emotions. Many people feel a strong connection to them because they have so many past lives. They have a lot of connections to many people. They're very experienced with healing, shaking off past life karma. They can be very eccentric as well. because they've already acquired so many past life experiences where they've done this, they've done that, they've tried this out. They tend to be very eccentric. Sometimes they're particular about what they surround themselves with. For example, they might like certain old books or artifacts around them to feel at home. They tend to be the collectors. They collect a lot of different unique, interesting artifacts or whatever they feel like they relate to. Now, I didn't dive too far into it, but when it comes to new souls and this imprinted memory, they're able to connect to all kind of past lives. So they may feel connected to the old and new. It doesn't really matter to them. They're not fixated on it. And that's kind of the point. Whereas old souls feel more of a strong, grounded connection to certain experiences. And sometimes they can even, obviously connect to certain past lives. And that's why, again, I refer to the strong connection to specific regions or areas or even groups of people, because they feel that ancestral connection in their DNA. They're great physical healers. And these are also, they tend to be the psychics, the mediums, who also often grow up in families with psychic gifts. So if you think about it, I was always wondered, some people, they come out the womb and they're just like, they're super psychic and they can see things and connect with those energies. And I feel like that has something to do with being very developing some kind of like their auric energy around this like invisible psychic auric field around Earth. They're very connected to that. It's not their first rodeo. And I think a lot of the mediums and psychics that we have here, and healers we have here, have developed those gifts time and time again in past lives. They've developed it more and more and more. Whereas a new soul can just be good at something. They can just sort of channel or tune into something, but it tends to be more creative or more imaginative, very third eye energy. Whereas a psychic or medium, they see like specific auras or colors, or they see, people, or they hear older ones, because they're more connected to the auric field around Earth, so they can connect to the lives that have been experienced here on Earth. And I noticed that a lot of these people who have these psychic or intuitive gifts, or who are mediums, grow up in families who also have that gift. So I think the gift also was refined in their ancestral line as well. So I think sometimes they're reincarnated into those families to refine that gift more and more. So they're very good at grounding higher knowledge into practical ideas or inventions. They're very good at giving their ideas to the public and a mass audience relating to what it is they're describing. Whereas new souls, they're like, their concepts are just like very out there sometimes, where people are like, what are you talking about? I don't even understand, because their crown chakra is just so lit. Their energy is just so connected to the higher dimensions. Whereas old souls, they're very grounded. So they understand, they tune into those energies and those insights relating to Earth and relating to how do we ground in our body, how do we heal ourselves. They tend to be very good physical healers. So they can be very stubborn, strong-minded, or even rigid in their traditions or belief systems. So some of them might have like ancestral beliefs that they've had for multiple lifetimes that they've sort of maintained. They tend to be the ones where it's like, not this and this. That's right, that's wrong. It's like they're very straight up and direct about that. And the last trait I have here is that they are powerful manifestors. Absolutely. They can get things created. New souls tend to prefer more isolation, less activity, less busyness going on in their lives. But old souls, because they're connected to the Earth and the energies around it and other people, they tend to manifest things more powerfully because they've already manifested in multiple lifetimes. All right, for our final category, we have here advanced souls. So the advanced souls are made up of higher cosmic energies that require a lot of focus energy to create. So this is what I channeled. It could take hundreds of years to create these beings. There's a lot that goes into creating an advanced soul and bringing them onto Earth. That's why you don't get a bunch of them every 10 to 15 years. You get one every once in a while, just a little drop, because they require more cosmic energies to be created here. These are the avatars, the advanced yogis, the gurus, the free-spirited. So to me, advanced souls would not fit well in a religious or rigid structure at all, because they're free spirited. Because you have to think about it. They are sent here to teach us how to break free of structures. So any kind of structure would actually get in the way. Now, while we include structure in routine, you would not want something like a religious structure of, this is what you should believe. No. They're the ones who, they go on their own journey, they go on their own unique experience, and then they come back with their insight and they share that with people. They have to start a revolution, basically. They have to go off of their own instincts and their own intuition. They cannot follow a system, because it would go completely against their purpose, which is to free people of a system. I thought about that. They encompass all the qualities of an old and new soul. They are generational teachers, highly intelligent, child prodigies. They are imbued with lots of love and light, and they are fluid with past life, earth, and galactic energies. They connect to it all. They see the full connection. They understand where they come from. They're very healing to be around. They're powerful miracle healers. They're deeply empathic and compassionate. We all have the ability to experience miracles in our lives. But to me, advanced souls, literally, their presence is so healing. That's why people are drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Because their light is so bright. It's part of their mission. They're here to be that bright light. Which takes me to my next part, which is that the bigger the mission, the heavier the burden. The bigger the mission, the heavier the burden. These are not fame seekers. They do not seek fame. It is a burden. Because they are asked to relinquish, to sacrifice, to detach like nobody else. Not even like a new soul. New souls have a mission. Sure, and they know what they're here for, but an advanced soul feels the weight of the world. They feel it. They feel the pain of the world. They feel the earthly attachments of the masses. And so they're having to do their alchemy work to shed that, to help lighten the energy on earth. They're powerful lights. When they do their inner work, it is an intense process that we cannot even imagine what they are carrying with them. But it also leads to an immense amount of peace and love that they're able to experience, right? These are the enlightened beings, so to speak. Good people like to label it as enlightened. Your definition of enlightened might differ. So the bigger the mission, the heavier the burden. This is not something where you're like, yeah, I want to sign up for it. Many of us know this who've gone through our dark night of the soul. When you sign up to be a part of this experience, these missions, your soul signed up to be a part of it, there's frustration that comes with it, because you have to sacrifice whoever you thought you were, whatever you were attached to. You have to let it all go. And that's a very painful shedding process. So sometimes they receive a lot of flack and resistance for their teachings or being different in general. They're not like rebellious. It's like new souls are more rebellious. Even old souls can have a bit of that rebellion to them, but they're more attuned to the earth energy. So they tend to actually understand why people don't get them. Whereas new souls are like, I don't know why people don't get me. I don't know why I'm so different. I just know that I am. But advanced souls have an immense amount of compassion. They really feel people's confusion and disappointment or frustration at life, and so they smile inside. They really do. They're just like, oh, I get it. You're frustrated. It's kind of like watching kids throw tantrums. Oh, that's kind of cute. I get it. You're feeling some pain and frustration, and you're still learning how to process. And the best thing I can do is be here for you and witness you. So my theory is that Jesus, Yeshua, Christ, Buddha, Anandamayi Ma, might have said that wrong, Eckhart Tolle, Sanguru Muji, some of the monks and yogis were and are advanced souls. They knew their mission from birth. They went off to study. Dalai Lama as well. They went off to study, they learned how to detach, and knew they would have to take on the burden of shedding any false attachments to earthly matters in exchange for a solitary lifestyle where they help to uplift and re-educate people. So whatever ideas, which they might have had a couple ideas about what they thought they were here to do, any attachments they had, it all has to be set aside for the greater mission. The greater mission. They're like, nope, I cannot attach myself to this. I have a mission. They give it all up. They are the truth speakers, fully authentic, comfortable with themselves. They have their own unique personality, their own way of describing things and experiences. So that is my conclusion. That is the group of the advanced souls. I hope maybe this helps you guys in some way. I think if anything, what you can get from this is maybe understanding yourself more and how you operate, because this brought to me a lot of clarity about how I operate. But I will not forget that the one thing my guides showed me when I asked them, what's my past life? What are my past lives like? They kept showing me connection. They kept showing me that I'm connected to everything. So it doesn't matter if we dive into past lives. Now, Dolores Cannon even herself struggled with this concept. She said, surely, if you're in a human body, you have past incarnations. And the more she dove into her research and she works with different students, she saw that many of them shared the same story. They didn't have past lives. In spite of the fact that you may not have past lives here on Earth, you're still an eternal soul. So your eternal soul is immensely wise, and it's connected straight to the God source. But it does take our effort to awaken that energy, to connect with it, to activate it within us. It takes our conscious awareness to do that. That's why it's not an easy process. When I thought about what Earth is going through and the things that we're struggling with here, it made a lot of sense to me why advanced souls most certainly needed to come here and have been coming here, and why new souls needed to be introduced. Just like think about species in the ecosystem. In order for the ecosystem to be balanced, sometimes nature introduces certain species that will survive, right? Survival of the fittest. And I feel like new souls, particularly, were introduced to help offset that balance and to help people out. And their process is that they may not necessarily have the ability to connect as well as an old soul does with other people, or have this like big intense mission as an advanced soul, but they're still so purposeful, so effective, so necessary to help restore balance. And so we're all part of these experiences. And if anything, I hope you get out of this is that you are here to restore balance. You're here to bring magic into this world. You're here to do that work that needs to be done. And if anything, I want you to feel so much more confident in knowing what you're here to do, what your mission is, and what you're excited to do, what you're excited to be a part of, because all of these categories are very gifted. You know, they're very much purposeful and intentional. Like they were created on purpose and with a purpose and for a purpose. And there's something so comforting about knowing that we are created on purpose. If anything, I hope that's what you get out of this. Okay, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. If you're interested in any kind of new ideas or concepts and you are wanting me to look into that, I will take your suggestions and I will keep an open mind. I love the suggestions that came to me thus far. And soon in my next video, I will probably be posting a channeled message for you guys soon to dive into the collective energies and just see what is going on, what is life about right now. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or evening. Just remember that the best thing that you can do in life is to wake up and to stay awake. Bye. Free yourself.